Let's return to New South Wales now. Damaging winds, we have dangerous surf, and there is still a flood emergency in the north. So joining me is the SES Assistant Commissioner Sean Kearns once again. Sean, let's start in the north of the state. What is the situation there right now?
Thank you. Good morning, Laura. Yes, the situation is that we still have 13 evacuation orders in place covering communities in the Northern Rivers and the Mid-North Coast, with 4 evacuation warnings in place. The good news is that we have seen a significant easing of the weather up there, although the rivers, there is still flooding occurring and major flooding occurring in a number of communities. Although at this time, those floods seem to have peaked, but for a number of them, it's still going to be a number of days before we see those rivers fall and communities able to return safely.
Okay, so that does remain in place. We've also still got many towns in the midst of a flood emergency, you mentioned. So there's thousands of people still evacuated, is that right?
There is. So we've got 13 evacuation orders in place covering up to 23,000 people. So, the 4 evacuation warnings cover about 2,000 people. So we do ask people to listen to the warnings that SES are issuing and follow those. We'll constantly monitor the situation, and as we see the rivers fall, and it is safe to do so, we'll go in and assess with our partner agencies to make sure it's safe for people to return, and then we'll allow them to return safely at that time. Now, this is going to take a bit of time, and we will have to also assess to see if any further damage has been done, and also start looking at the clean-up effort and recovery effort. Overnight, SES has done 132 requests for assistance with 23 flood rescues during that time. So we do remind people that the risk is still there to avoid floodwater, to not drive, walk or play in it. There is still severe weather also and strong winds predicted up and down the New South Wales coast. So we do warn people that even though the winds may not be as strong as predicted, they are still going to be strong enough to potentially bring down trees in what is already saturated ground. So we ask people to be aware of their risk, listen to warnings being issued by the Bureau and New South Wales Bureau of Meteorology and New South Wales SES.
So that damaging wind warning and dangerous surf warning, where's that from? Right up north to the south coast?
And the south coast, yep, from the south coast up through metropolitan Sydney, Central Coast, Hunter and Mid-North Coast. So we are also want to warn communities in the south coast that there is predicted potential storms coming. There is a low pressure trough off the south coast, so there is a chance of severe rain and heavy rain. So to listen for warnings and New South Wales SES will issue warnings about that. So there is, and what that means when you start getting those heavy those storms, there can be embedded thunderstorms, which can lead to high intense rainfall in short periods of time. That leads to flash flooding. So we ask people to be aware of the risk, and if there is severe weather, to avoid unnecessary travel.
Geez, what a week. Sean Kearns, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Laura.